rise, please. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance Thank you. Please be seated. It says here I'm supposed to have an address of welcome. I'm not sure what street that's on, but I'll give it a shot. Indeed. Thank you all for being here for this 162nd installation of officers for the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington. This is an auspicious event, obviously, for every jurisdiction as you begin the new year for the Grand Lodge. You have new officers being installed in new offices. We have district deputies being installed. We have committeemen being installed. This is a particularly important event, of course, in the life of any jurisdiction, and I am very grateful that you are here to participate in this event. I'd like to introduce the installing officers. As I call your name, please rise. Presentation of Grand Master-elect, Most Worshipful Gail H. Kenny. Prayer will be given by Most Worshipful Sat Tashiro. The installation of the Grand Master, Most Worshipful Jim V. Mendoza. Elected Officers Obligation, Most Worshipful Alvin W. Jorgensen. Installation of Elected Officers, Most Worshipful Jim V. Mendoza, stand up again, thank you. Most Worshipful Warren R. Shobin. Most Worshipful Alvin W. Jorgensen. And you're here again, Jim. How did that happen? Installation of Appointed Officers, Most Worshipful Dean W. Heineman. Most Worshipful Bruce E. Vesper. Most Worshipful Carl B. Smith. Is Santi here? Most Worshipful G. Santi Lascano. Oh, he snuck in behind me. And Most Worshipful Sam Roberts. And we add Jimmy Reed, who is going to be acting as the secretary for the event until the real secretary takes his place. Installation of Assistant Grand Secretary will be by Right Worshipful Clinton M. Brown, Jr., following the other installation. Installation of Deputies of the Grand Master and the Committeemen will be by Most Worshipful Charles E. Wood. Proclamation will be by Most Worshipful Douglas E. Tucker. Ladies and gentlemen, as I pass the baton, as it were, I am looking forward to the Masonic year before us. We're going to continue to have fun, have fellowship, and accomplish a lot for our fraternity and for our communities. Thank you.
Brother Installing Grand Secretary, you will announce the names of those who have been elected and appointed to serve our Grand Lodge for the ensuing year.
Most Worshipful Charles E. Wood, Grand Master. Right Worshipful Chris J. Kaufman, Deputy Grand Master.
You guys can come in, you know.
I'm not going to read any more names till I see body. Right Worshipful Cameron M. Bailey, Senior Grand Warden. Right Worshipful Edward C. Woods, Junior Grand Warden. Right Worshipful Clinton M. Brown, Jr., Grand Secretary. Very Worshipful Doug E. Stamper, Grand Chaplain. Very Worshipful Stephen C. Martin, Grand Lecturer. Very Worshipful James C. Norton, Grand Orator. Very Worshipful Richard S. Cook, Grand Historian. Worshipful Brian D. Beckler, Grand Marshal. Very Worshipful Tom R. D'Angelo, Senior Grand Deacon. Worshipful Scott P. Segerser, Junior Grand Deacon. Was that supposed to be six? Worshipful Michael E. Burton, Grand Standard Bearer. Very Worshipful Michael R. Percy, Grand Sword Bearer. Very Worshipful Alan T. Spreen, Grand Bible Bearer. Worshipful Jeffrey L. Piatela, Senior Grand Steward. Worshipful Frederick R. Johnson, Junior Grand Steward. Worshipful Adam J. Creighton, Grand Musician. And Worshipful Paul J. Carmine, Grand Tyler.
Please greet them. Brother Grand Marshal, you will present the Grand Master-elect.
Most worshipful sir, I have the honor to present to you for installation Brother Charles E. Wood, who has been duly elected Most Worshipful Grand Master of Masons for the ensuing year and signifies his acceptance of said office.
Let him face west. Brethren, you behold here before you Right Worship Brother Charles Wood, who have been duly elected to preside over our craft as Grand Master of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington, now presents himself for installation. If any of you present know of any just cause of why he should not be installed into that office, you will make it known now or forever remain silent. This railroad is sufficient. There being no objections, Brother Grand Marshal, you will conduct our brother to the altar, there in due form facing east to receive the benefit of prayer and to take upon himself his official obligation. Would everyone please stand for the prayer?
Brethren, let us pray. Almighty and most merciful Father, eternal source of life and light, with adoration and praise we reverently bow before thy throne. We humbly implore thy divine favor upon the services in which we are now engaged. May the lessons taught, the duties imposed, and the obligations assumed be productive of great good to us all. May they inspire our hearts with more ardent love to thee, to each other, and to the whole brotherhood of man. Incite in us, we entrust thee a higher ambition to do thy will, and greater faithfulness in obedience to thy law. Bless us, O our Father, thy servant, now before thee, who is about to enter upon duties of great responsibility and assume new and important relations to his brethren. Endow him plenteously with divine wisdom, strength, and love, that he may be able to rule and govern us in thy fear, that thy name may be glorified, that the best interests of the brotherhood promoted through his administration and guardian care. We invoke thy blessing upon thy brethren associated with him in office. May they feel a just sense of their accountability to thee and to the fraternity. May they ever be faithful and zealous in duty, and assist in upholding the hands of their chief in every good work and way. Bless, we beseech thee, our Grand Lodge, and its subordinates, and all the brotherhood wheresoever dispersed. Be thou our friend, guide, and protector in all things. Lead us safely through the unseen vicissitudes of life before us, and bring us all, at last, to dwell with thee in those mansions of eternal bliss, where there is fullness of joy and pleasure forevermore. Amen.
So mote it be. Our guests may be seated. Brethren, please remain standing. My brother, you will now repeat your official obligation.
On the honor of a Mason, that as Grand Master of this jurisdiction, that I will, to the best of my ability, faithfully, and impartially perform all the duties incumbent upon me. That I will strictly enforce the Constitution, laws, rules, and regulations of this most worshipful Grand Lodge, usages and customs of free and accepted Masons, and will studiously endeavor to enforce obedience to the same from all subject to my authority. Amen. So help me God.
Brother Grand Marshal, you will conduct the Grand Master-elect to the Grand East. Most worshipful brother, as thus you are now entitled to be hailed. In inducting you into this high official position, symbolizing the commencement of your government over our craft, I am performing a most solemn duty. By immemorial usage and the irrevocable landmarks of Masonry, you are invested as Grand Master with powers and prerogatives which are well nigh absolute. The interest of our craft for weal and woe are placed in your hands during your term of office. The good resolutions that doubtless have been made in your mind that these powers shall not be abused nor perverted by you, I would gladly strengthen by a word of admonition, which will not become me hereafter to utter. The very consciousness that the possession of a great power will ever make the generous mind cautious and gentle in its exercise. To rule has been the lot of many, and requires neither strength of intellect nor soundness of judgment. To rule well has been the fortune of but a few, and may justly be the object of an honorable ambition. It is not by the strong arm or the iron will that order and obedience, key requisites to a good government, are secured, but by holding the key to the hearts of men. The office of Grand Master is one of great antiquity and respect, and may be one of the highest dignities to which we aspire. Its incumbent to rule well should practice and possess several important requisites. As a man, he should be of approved integrity and irreproachable morals, freed from the dominion of hasty temper and ill-governed passions, of good repute in the world, and practicing as an example of our fraternity the cardinal virtues of temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice. As a citizen, he should be loyal to his government, obedient to its laws, prompt in the duties he owes to society, and a pattern of fidelity in all social domestic relations. As a Mason, he should cling to the old landmarks and be sternly opposed to their infringement. Be proficient in the laws, language, and literature of the fraternity. Be desirous to learn and apt to teach. Though not a workman, yet be master of the work and qualified to earn his wages. Be prompt to give aid and relief and slow to demand it. Be ever mindful that though for a time elevated above his fellows, that he is elevated by them, and that he is yet a craftsman, or sacredly bound by a craftsman's obligation, and that he should cultivate everywhere and at all times the golden tenets of brotherly love, relief, and truth. As an officer, he should remember first of all that he is an individual Mason, and sharing in that respect a common lot with his brethren, and therefore interested in the welfare of each and all. Be devoid of undue ostentation and haughty overbearing. Be accessible to all, cultivating his closest friendships and the most unlimited confidence with his associate officers. Be eager to take counsel with brethren and ready to give it. Be patient in investigation and hearing. Be deliberate in judgment, prompt in execution. Be forbearing long and much with evildoers. Be ready to reward good. Be devoid of favoritism and wholly impartial. Be watchful over the treasury, keeping an eagle eye over every portion of his jurisdiction, and breasting ever the restless spirit of innovation. Such, most worshipful sir, are some of the qualifications which a Grand Master should possess, and the leading errors to be avoided. It may be that most, if not all, of your predecessors failed to reach this standard, but it is attainable, and be it your purpose to reach it. Your efforts to do so will not be lost in the good results to you or in their proper appreciation by your brethren, but will serve as a bright and shining example for those who will come after you. And I, with pleasure, invest you with the jewel of your office, whose symbolic meaning will now hold a new and striking significance to you. I also present you with the emblem of that authority with which you have been invested, and which in your hands should never be sounded in vain. The Book of Constitutions and the Holy Writings are placed in your charge, and I especially call your attention to the latter. In this you will find the great living principles upon which Freemasonry is founded, from which it derives its wisdom, strength, and beauty. This will confirm your faith, strengthen your hope, energize and encourage your charity, and direct your path to that temple where all is harmony, peace, and love. Actually, let's do it in this one, because that chair looks really cool. Not yet.
No, I was going to put it down.
No, stand. Lastly, I seat you in the Oriental chair and cover you with that distinction which is your privilege alone to wear. Permit me to say that the honor which has been conferred upon you is not unworthy a man of the highest position or the most distinguished of capabilities. I now hail, proclaim, and salute you, Grand Master of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington. Grand Master, please raise your Grand Lodge. Grand Master, behold your brethren. Brethren, behold your Grand Master, and join in the public grand honors of Masonry. And a hearty congratulations.
If you would continue with the installation, thank you. Installing Grand Marshal, you will conduct the Deputy Grand Master-elect, Senior Grand Warden, Junior Grand Warden, and Grand Secretary-elect to the altar for obligation. My brethren, having signified your acceptance of and readiness to be installed into places of trust and honor to which you have been respectively called, you'll place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I do solemnly promise upon the honor of a Mason, in the presence of this Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons, that I will conform to the Constitution, laws, rules, and regulations of this most worshipful Grand Lodge, and that I will, to the best of my ability, perform the duties incumbent upon my office. Installing Grand Marshal, you will conduct the Deputy Grand Master-elect to the east.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you Right Worshipful Brother Chris J. Kaufman to be installed as Deputy Grand Master for the ensuing year.
Right Worshipful Brother Chris, you have not been an inattentive observer of the ceremony of installing our most worshipful Grand Master, for you are aware that in the case of his incapacity to work in the matters mentioned in our Constitution, you will succeed to his duties and prerogatives, as you will also when performing those duties which are delegated to you specifically. Your office, therefore, is one of great dignity and respect, and it is in consideration of these items that your brethren have selected you to fill it. Treasure up, therefore, the suggestions which have been made to the most worshipful Grand Master, for you know not how soon when they will have personal application to you. And remember also that usage and our particular regulations place you in the most intimate and confidential communication with the Grand Master as his counselor and supporter. It is now with pleasure that we invest you with the jewel of your office. And I now proclaim you Deputy Grand Master of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington. And you will take your place at the right hand of the Most Worshipful Grand Master.
Most worshipful sir, I have the honor to present to you for installation Right Worshipful Brother Cameron M. Bailey, who is to be installed as Senior Grand Warden for the ensuing year.
Right Worshipful Brother Cameron, by the suffrages of your brethren, you have been elected their Senior Grand Warden and will now be invested with the badge of your office. The position which you occupy in the Grand Lodge among the fraternity is one of no little importance. In the Grand Lodge, to aid in the preservation of order, and at all times to render counsel and advice to the Grand Master are high and responsible duties, requiring circumspection, vigilance, and reflection. When to these is superadded the more onerous labor, in conjunction with the Junior Grand Warden, of diligently preserving the ancient landmarks throughout the jurisdiction, it becomes a trust of deep moment for the welfare of the craft. Your fitness for the discharge of such a trust is undoubtedly led to your selection for the office by your brethren. And we have no doubt that you will be your duty and pleasure to act so as to justify their competence. Right Worshipful Cameron, look well to the west. Congratulations.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you Right Worshipful Brother Edward C. Woods to be installed as Junior Grand Warden for the ensuing year.
Right Worshipful Brother, as the duties of your office and the qualifications for it are almost identical with those of the Senior Grand Warden, I will only add to the charge given to that officer that you be equally vigilant and circumspect, not only in your position at the Grand Lodge, but in the broader field of action without, dividing his duties with him, taking due care that the great object of your united solicitude shall remain inviolate. Accept the jewel of your office and repair to your station, being ever watchful, whether at labor or refreshment, that the high 12 of observation does not find you with your work and that of the craft which you superintend unperformed. My brother, congratulations. Look well to the south.
Most worshipful sir, I have the honor to present to you for installation this evening Right Worshipful Brother Clinton M. Brown Jr., somebody I can look up to. Was to be installed as the Grand Secretary for the ensuing year.
For once in my life, I am taller than you are. Right Worshipful Brother Clint. Usage as well as positive enactments from time to time have rendered the duties of the office of Grand Secretary more onerous and varied than that of any other officer. Brought by his official position more immediately into communication with the whole body of the fraternity, it is requisite that he should possess ability, skill, and industry to meet the various demands upon him. Placed in a position where he holds almost constant correspondence with our Masonic brethren of every state and country, upon him devolves in a large degree the good name and credit of the Masonic family of the state. The fraternity should enable him to maintain it. He should strive that it be maintained. Courtesy and patience are to be elements in his manner and character. Vigilance and fidelity are also necessary qualities. Our constitutions, my brother, point out to you the full duties of your office, and I will not recapitulate them. Your capability for their prompt and faithful execution has induced your brethren to confide this trust in you, and I feel assured that it is well placed. In investing you with the official jewel, the pens, I am persuaded gotten you a step stool. I am persuaded that they will make an enduring record, not only to your praise, but to the welfare of the craft you so largely dependent upon your experience and integrity. I'm all done with that one. Move on. Yeah.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you very worshipful brother Doug E. Stamper to be installed as chaplain for the ensuing term.
Very worshipful brother, the holy book, which is the chart and textbook of your sacred calling, is also the great light of Masonry, and forever sheds its benignant rays upon every lawful assemblage of free and accepted Masons. Teach us from its life-giving precepts. Intercede for us in that divine majesty which is so freely reveals and unfolds to us, and warn us by its lessons of infinite wisdom and truth, and you will have faithfully performed your sacred functions and fulfilled your important trust. It is fitting that an emblem of the sacred volume be the jewel of your office, which you will now be invested with.
Most worshipful sir, I have the pleasure to present to you for installation, very worshipful brother, Steve C. Martin, who will be installed as Grand Lecturer for the ensuing year.
Very worshipful brother, it will be your high privilege to instruct the craft in the due performance of their duty, to communicate light, to preserve our rituals and traditions in the memory of the fraternity, to see that the ancient landmarks are not removed or infringed upon by ignorant pretenders, and that by the light of your instruction illustrate the genius and vindicate the principles of our institution to the lodges and the brethren. The high confidence reposed in your capacity and in the faithful discharge of so important a trust assures us that you will require no promptings for the proper performance of your duties. Let it then be your special object, which, while inculcating among the members of our time-honored fraternity a faithful regard for its duties and obligations, to impress upon the world at large by your example a favorable opinion of its designs and tendencies. You will now be presented with the jewel of your office, receive it as an emblem of your authority, and enter upon the duties of your office.
Most worshipful sir, gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you very worshipful brother Jimmy C. Norton to be installed as Grand Orator for the ensuing term.
Very worshipful brother Jimmy C. Norton. You have been appointed Grand Historian and will now. Oh, Grand Orator. You turn it.
Yeah, follow selection.
Okay. You can be it also. Yeah. You, you have been appointed to the office of Grand Orator and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. Your reputation as a wise and discreet Freemason has designated you for this post of distinction. You enter upon the discharge of the duties of your office with the assurance of the confidence and respect of your brethren. Be it your care to merit this high meed, ever bearing in mind the first lesson in Masonry. Truth is a divine attribute and the foundation of every virtue.
Most worshipful sir, I have the honor to present to you for the 7th time, very worshipful brother, Richard C. Cook, who is to be installed as Grand Historian, like I said, 7 times.
Very worshipful brother, Richard Bud Cook. As I've known you for 7 years, he was Bud Cook. Very worshipful brother, the duties of your office requires energy, activity, and quickness of perception. The good order of the fraternity in its general assemblies and procession depends upon your care, skill, and assiduity. Possessing these qualifications, you have been appointed Grand Marshal and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. We're installing him as Marshal. Okay, back up. Okay, since you have been invested with the jewel of your office, it is your duty to collect all data relative to the formation and progress of this Grand Lodge. And I feel sure your known interest and good inclination to Masonry will prompt you to a faithful discharge of the duties of your office. Congratulations.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you Brian D. Beckler, worshipful brother Brian D. Beckler, to be installed, ready, as Grand Marshal for the ensuing term.
I got it ready this time. My brother, the duties of your office require energy, activity, once more, and quickness of your perception. The good order of the fraternity in its general assemblies and processions depends upon your care, skill, and assiduity. Possessing these qualifications, you have been appointed Grand Marshal and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. It denotes command as the organ of the Grand Master to whom you will be near at hand in order to execute his orders. Congratulations.
Let's just kind of slowly do it here. How's everybody working? Okay, we'll see what we can do to me first then, right here. Most worshipful sir, I know these guys by first names, but I don't know the whole name. I'd like to present to you for installation for the ensuing year as okay. Very worshipful Brother Tom R. D'Angelo as Senior Grand Deacon and Worship Brother Scott P. Sagasser as Junior Grand Deacon for the ensuing year.
Worshipful brothers, as messengers of the Grand Bossers and as useful assistants in our ceremonies, your respective official positions are of great value and importance to the comfort and good order of the Grand Lodge. Vigilance and zeal are necessary requisites of your offices, and we know that you possess them. As Senior and Junior Grand Deacons of this Grand Lodge, you are now invested with the jewels of your office. Together with these rods as tokens of your authority.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you worshipful brother Michael Burton to be installed as Grand Standard Bearer.
Worshipful Brother Mike, it is your duty to bear the banner of the Grand Lodge in processions. The banner of a nation is the emblem of its honor. As we strive to transmit our banner to those who shall come after us without spot or stain on its folds, so should we also endeavor to transmit to our successors our glorious institution in all its purity.
I'm working on it. Most worshipful sir, it is with honor that I present to you Michael R. Percy, who is to be installed as Grand Standard Bearer for the ensuing year. Oh, it's the other word, SW, Sword Bearer.
Very worshipful brother Percy, pleasure is mine. Sword which you bear, it's a time-honored symbol of justice and authority. It reminds the beholder of the dignity of the body of whose symbol this is. It is also the guardian and protector of the standard of the Grand Lodge. Be ever faithful to your trust. Let this jewel of the office remind you of its purpose. And I repeat, let it remind you of its purpose. Yes.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you worshipful brother Jeffrey L. Patilla and Frederick R. Johnson as senior and junior grand stewards, respectively, for the ensuing term.
Worshipful brothers, in olden times, your province was to superintend and provide for the festivals of the craft. And that duty still remains to you, although there are rarely occasions for its exercise. But we are taught that it is better to go to the house of the mourning than the house of feasting. And hence, on you has been appropriately imposed the dispensation of our benefitus. That is a grateful duty of all hearts to testify, and we know that yours most fully responds to it. Receive these jewels of your office together with these white rods.
I've got him. Don't worry. I am. I'm going to get him. I got to get him down first. Most worshipful sir, it is my honor to present to you for installation worshipful brother Adam J. Creighton, who's to be installed as grand musician for the ensuing year.
Worshipful brother, you have been appointed grand musician of this Grand Lodge and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. Under the direction of the Grand Master, you will conduct the musical services of this Grand Lodge. As harmony is the strength and support of all institutions, may the harmony over which you preside strengthen and support every gentle and ennobling emotion of the soul.
Most worshipful sir, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you worshipful brother Paul J. Carmine to be installed as Grand Tyler for the ensuing year.
Worshipful brother, the importance of the duties of your place cannot be overrated. Care and watchfulness are indispensably requisite, and in all cases, unless thoroughly satisfied with the character and the identity of those desiring admittance, let your doubts prevail. Ours is a sanctuary entrusted to you faithfully and vigilantly to guard, and you have always at your hand the means of being fully satisfied. Irreparable injury might result from a negligent and careless discharge of your duty. Your station is ever outside the door to which you will now repair with this jewel and implement of your office.
I was wondering where you were hiding. Right worshipful sir, I have the pleasure to introduce and the honor to introduce to you. Where'd you? I know who he is, but I'm trying to find him.
He's
He's
on the
supposed
other
to be
side.
on it. He's on the other side?
It's on the other side. I think. Oh. Okay, that was an oversight.
That's okay. I'm going to introduce him to no. Clayton Levine, very worshipful brother Clayton Levine, to be installed as the Assistant Grand Secretary for the ensuing year.
Very worshipful brother Clayton Morris Montgomery Levine. As the duties of your office are almost identical to those of the Grand Secretary, and that in his absence you are to perform the duties of that office under the direction of the Grand Master, I will only add the charge to be equally vigilant and faithful, courteous and patient in the performance of those duties. In investing you with the official jewel, the single pin, I am persuaded that you will be a proper representative of the office of the Grand Lodge whenever called upon, if not at all times in your association with the craft. Congratulations.
Installing Grand Marshal, you will conduct the deputies of the Grand Master to the east, facing east.
Yeah, this way. All the way down.
Can you scoot down just a little bit more? Very worshipful brethren, you have been appointed to the responsible office of Deputy of the Grand Master in your respective districts. It will be your duty to exercise a general supervision over the craft in your respective districts, to visit all the lodges therein during your term of office, to inspect their labors, examine and inquire into the state of said lodges, and to give them Masonic advice and instruction. Let the Book of Constitution be your constant study, that you may be able to preserve in violation of the laws of the institution and impress upon the lodges in your respective districts the necessity of a strict adherence to our laws. I will now invest you with the jewels of your office. The Grand Marshal, have the brethren do an about face and face the west.
To your right. Keep turning to your right. I love you guys.
Veritable Matt Appel, Deputy of the Master, just now invest you with the jewel of your office. Wow, Tig. Very worshipful brother, Tig Dupre, Deputy of the Grand Master, District 3. I now install you with the jewel of your office. Wow, Richard, we go back a long ways. Very worshipful brother, Richard M. Kovac, Deputy of the Grand Master, District 4. Some may not know, but when Richard was the Grand High Priest, I was his District Deputy of the Grand High Priest during his term.
And a good one you were. Thank you.
Here we are, Steve. We go back a long ways. Very worshipful brother, Steve, District Deputy of the Grand Master, and number 5. I now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful brother, Martin Monk, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 6. Thank you, Martin. Very worshipful brother John Gephardt, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 7. A lot may not know that I met John many, many years ago when I first went up to Daylight Lodge, and we were also members of the Royal Lodge together. And John, it's good to have you on the team, my brother. My good brother Larry. Wow, we go back. It's my pleasure to introduce Very Worshipful Brother Larry D. Foley, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 8. Thank you, Larry. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very Worshipful Brother Tony L. Gill, Deputy of the Grand Master in District Number 9. Wow. We both worked on airplanes. Unfortunately, you were in the Navy and I was in the Air Force. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very Worshipful Brother John T. Rashish, Deputy of the Grand Master in District Number 11. Thank you, John. And you're also retired Navy. Submarines. Ooh, like the past Grand Master. Thank you, John. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very Worshipful Brother William R. Hubbard, Deputy of the Grand Master in District Number 12. Wow, Bill, we've served on the Finance Committee for quite some time together. It's good to have you on board. Thank you. I now will invest you with the jewel of your office. Very Worshipful Brother Todd Johnstone, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 13, the Rowdy Bunch. Yay! Todd, you did a great job as the chairman of the POTA committee, and thank you for taking my picture. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Thanks, Todd. Very Worshipful Brother Joe McAllister, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 14, who happens to be a professional railroader. And we've talked about things, haven't we? Anyway, thank you, Joe. And I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. It's an honor to put you. Very Worshipful Brother Ryan Red Shields, a Bronco rider, Deputy of the Grand Master in District Number 15. Red and myself met many, many years ago when he became Worshipful Master of his lodge down there in Puyallup. Come a long ways, Red. Congratulations. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very Worshipful Brother Mark Hanshaw. For those who may not know, he is my district deputy down in District 17. Deputy of the Grand Master in District 17. Thank you, Mark. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very Worshipful Brother Ron Robbins, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 18. If I recall, you're retired Air Force. Hey, one of my own. Anyway, thank you, Ron, for what you're going to be doing. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Gordon S. Johnson, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 19. And Gordon, I remember when you first got involved, and it's a good thing to have you now. And and thank you for accepting to be the district deputy. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Matt L. Walters, Deputy of the Grand Master over in District number 20, Natchez. Thank you for accepting. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. But some of these guys ought to have a step stool. Very worshipful Brother Roy Sharp, Deputy of the Grand Master in District number 21. Brother, we go back quite a ways. The fact that we've both been in Eastern Star for many years, and he is a past Grand Patron of the Order of Eastern Star. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Frank Granute, Deputy of the Grand Master in District number 20. Thank you for accepting. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful John R. Lawson, Deputy of the Grand Master in District 23. We go back quite a ways, John, and the fact that we both belong to Eastern Star and quite a few other organizations. Thank you for accepting. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Gary Homel, Deputy of the Grand Master over in District 26. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Roger Nelson Jr., Deputy of the Grand Master in District number 28. For those who may not know, 27, I'm sorry. Roger Nelson is also, or was, the chairman of our Public Relations Committee, has done an outstanding job with our public relations and the PSA announcements that I hear all over the place. And if I recall, was it last year or the year before, you were Mason of the Year, right? Thank you for accepting the job. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Richard W. Coughlin, Deputy of the Grand Master in District number 29. When I was looking for a district deputy, I saw what this gentleman did a few years back when he was district deputy and asked him if he could do it one more time. I met with him and his wife and we had breakfast, and he said yes, and his wife said yes also. So, like I've said before, without our wives behind us, a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today. God bless them. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. Very worshipful Brother Dave Klosterman, Deputy of the Grand Master in District number 30. As you heard earlier, I believe they lost their district deputy, right? And when I was looking around, I saw David, and we had a talk, and he graciously accepted my offer to be the next district deputy. and I thank you, David, for stepping on. I will now invest you with the jewel of your office. And finally, another very good friend from down in my area, District number 16, and I've known this guy from quite some time. He's also retired military, Army, right? Very worshipful Brother David Halliday. He was the deputy of the Grand Master in District number 16, and since we have consolidated it, I've asked him to stay on as a special deputy to work with the deputy in District 17 to help with the consolidation and be a special deputy for that purpose. And David, I am glad that you're willing to do this for us, to bring our two districts together one more time as they were. Thank you very much. And I now invest you with the jewel of your office. Masons only, please be upstanding. Please join with me in giving these outstanding brothers who have offered and accepted my appointment to serve this great jurisdiction for my year. And if you would, with me, on my lead, join me in giving them the public grand honors, 3 by 3. Please be seated. And Grand Marshal, if you lead them back to their positions, thank you.
They're going. We gave him instructions, sir.
You did well.
We'll see if it ends that way. Yeah, I'm just having to sit anyway.
Will all committeemen please be upstanding? Brethren, you have been appointed to the responsible position of committeeman of the Grand Lodge. It will be your duty to fulfill your duties as prescribed by the Washington Masonic Code or as directed by the Grand Master. To you is committed the programs and plans of the Grand Lodge, and you are admonished to diligently apply yourselves to the square of virtue, the level of equality, and the plumb of morality. Transmit to the constituent lodges the knowledge and lessons that you will enable them to flourish and grow in Masonic life. Please be seated. Brother Grand Marshal, please make the proclamation.
In the name of and by the authority of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington, I proclaim that the Grand Officers have been duly and amply installed for the ensuing year.
If everyone, please, would be upstanding.
Brethren, honored guests, may we pray. Great architect of the universe, as we prepare to begin a new year, we pray that our work will be pleasing in your sight. We ask your blessing of the new officers elected and appointed who will guide us in this coming year. Grant them, Almighty Father, strength of mind, strength of character, strength of will to succeed for the benefit of the fraternity. May they be faithful to their various charges and fulfill their duties with solemnity and honor. And as we now separate to go our separate ways, accept our humble praises and the gratitude of our hearts. Protect those who travel, wrap them in your loving embrace, and bring them safely home. Bring joy to the sorrowful, help to the needy, and comfort to the afflicted. May we be the embodiment of your precepts, that we may shine your light before the world, to your glory and the advancement of our beloved fraternity. All this we ask in thy holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. Next, I'm supposed to be giving my Grand Master's address, but I'm going to change that a little bit, and we'll go straight down to, I would like for the installing for my Grand Marshal, if you would, Grand Marshal. Please seek out the installing officers who just completed this installation for me. Have them assemble east of the altar, facing west. As a token of my appreciation, I have a little gift for each and every one of you. Whoops. As a token of my appreciation, I have put together a little gift for each of these installing officers. Just my way of saying thank you for the job well done, and also to thank those who I've talked to in the past for your kindness and your guidance for answering my questions. I'll be eternally grateful for what you have done. So with that, I'd like to present each and every one of you with a little token saying, hey, how much I appreciate what you have done. Masons only, please be upstanding. Join with me in giving these past Grand Masters a great round of applause for a job well done. Go ahead and take your seats. Thank you. Are there any presentations to be made at this time? If so, if you'd line up over here on the side.
Grand Master, how are you this evening? Nervous, absolutely. So, I've been thinking about this, and I come up with this. You know, achieving a goal is quite an accomplishment, but achieving the goal of Grand Master is an accomplishment like no other. Man, I wish you the best. Absolutely. And if you need anything, you got my number. I have something here for you from Arizona. It's a bottle of Arizona wine. There's some other goodies in there, including an Arizona wine stopper. And there is a one of my pins and one of my coins. Think of me when you look at those. Congratulations.
We've known each other for quite a while, and we'll be seeing quite a bit of each other, I'm sure of that. And thank you for being here tonight.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, congratulations. On behalf of my Grand Master, John May, it's a little token from Alaska. Now, I have no knowledge of what's in that, whether it'll blow up or what. Knowing John, it could be most anything. Congratulations.
Right, Worshipful Brother Norm, when you get back up to Alaska, please give my best and sincere wishes to Most Worshipful Brother John May for me, and let him know that I'll be up there at his. You get installed. Thank you for coming.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, and what a pleasure it is for me to say that, my dear friend. On behalf of the Freemasons of British Columbia and Yukon, and especially our Grand Master, Most Worshipful Brother Barry Birch, and myself, I would like to present to you this small token of our continued friendship and brotherly love, and to say how much we appreciate all of the efforts you have made to make us welcome in the great state of Washington, in your jurisdiction, and we hope to reciprocate that very much the coming week when you come and visit us at our Grand Lodge Communication. All the best, my brother. God bless you and Lorraine.
Doug and myself met many, many years ago when we were both junior grand wardens, and we've done a lot together, traveled together, and been around. And Doug, I look forward to being up there next weekend when you become the most worshipful Grand Master of British Columbia and Yukon. And I'm looking forward to seeing you put on the mantle and go to work. And I know you're going to do great things. Thank you very much, Doug. And say hello to your beautiful wife for me.
Most worshipful Grand Master, as you are aware, Grand Lodge of California is in a building that has a 3-story lobby. And in that lobby is a 3-story tall window. And over that window is a 3-story endomosaic mural that summarizes the history of Freemasonry in California. Several years ago, we commissioned an artist to recreate that mural in smaller form, a reproduction. And so on behalf of Most Worshipful Stuart Wright, Grand Master of Masons in California, who wishes he could be here this evening, I present you your reproduction of that endomosaic mural.
Before you get off the stage, let your Grandmaster know that I will be down there for the your guys' communication, and pass on to my good friend John. I'm looking forward to seeing him be installed as the next Grand Master of California. And thank you again, Art.
Would all the brothers of District 17 please be upstanding? Most worshipful Grand Master, it's my pleasure and an honor to present you with this gift on behalf of the brothers of District 17. We'll do our best to support you and your program this year for one Masonic family living united. It's a pleasure to call you a brother and a friend. You can open it.
Like I said, you know, the guys down in 17 were small. And I'm telling you one thing, we got a lot of love going on in that district, and Mark does this great job in all of the work that he's done. And quite a few years back, there was a time that I looked at Mark to be a district deputy, but he was so busy with his job. He said that he'd think about it later. I said, man, I am so glad to have you on board. And I'm glad to have you as my district deputy down in my District 17. And I will see the brothers very shortly. Thank you, Mark. I'm a little bit afraid of this when it comes to you, Dale. I really am. I never know what you're going to do. There you go.
Would all the Fifi Shriners please rise?
Fifi Shriners.
Okay, as a token of the amity between a Fifi Shrine and Grand Lodge, and our friendship between you and your lady and my First Lady, I want to give you a couple gifts. Start with that one. Oh yeah.
It ain't gonna blow up.
No, it's not going to blow up. It's going to make things fun. Hold on, hold on. you're going to have to put this one on. It's a little bit like yabba dabba doo time. Is this not great? Will he not have fun? Okay. And this is the a little more serious side when we get together casually. There's some goodies in there that you might, a little libation and such, and a couple of glasses in there that you'll really like. Oh. And we have a gift for Lorraine, of course, because our First Lady is like to share with your First Lady. Please. There you go.
Friends, and congratulations, and we hope you have a wonderful year.
All right, thank you. We love traveling around, and we see you here, there, and everywhere. And if there's anything a Fifi Shrine can do for Grand Lodge, please don't hesitate to ask. We're here to help.
Don't go away, Dale. Dale and myself go back a long ways. I remember being over in Wenatchee when I had made myself available for Junior Grand Warden the second time, and we were down across the railroad tracks, sitting outside the day before the election. And he looked at me and he says, "Hey, don't worry about it. It'll all work out." And he told me some things, which I'm not going to repeat right now. But I'll tell you what, Dale, you were right. And buddy, you will never know just how much I appreciate your friendship and what you do for the fraternity. And we appreciate your hospitality houses above and beyond all things. And I wish you much success in the coming year, Dale. God bless.
Most worshipful Brother Woody, congratulations. Yes, it's such a great thing to be here, to be able to be here when as you're installed. And congratulations from me. I may be the second newest or third newest in the room, but it's a pleasure to be here with you. I have a small token of our appreciation for you. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, open it later. Yeah. And Lorraine, Kathy has something for you.
As Masons travel, and as we have been traveling, as a lot of you have, the saying goes, safe travels. Safe travels. Please have safe travels. So I put my money where my mouth is. Okay. This is a Columbia Sportswear collapsible bag that you can put in your suitcase, and that's for all the things you buy. And it's a backpack. Since I'm an outdoor girl, this is an Eddie Bauer keychain that has a little flashlight on it that is really bright, and you will need this when it's dark in your car. And last but not least, our son is a Marine. He served 3 tours over in Iraq, and he knows of a site called One Tac for tactical gear. This is a small implemental tool. It fits in the lighter of a car. It cuts your seat belt. It has a window breaker on it, and this one also has a plug-in for your phone in the socket. You need one of these in your car. Be safe with your travels, my dear.
No. We first met, if I recall, when we were up in Alaska. And then we went to the Conference of Grandmasters back in Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm going to tell a little story about this lady. The Grand Lodge team of Oregon had set up to take a tour of the aircraft museum there in Omaha, not the one at the base, off the base. And I knew they had an SR-71 too, so I asked them if I could join them. And they said, yeah. And so we went to the museum, but along with me came John Bishop. He wanted to know if he could go. And these people said, hey, why not? Well, we all got together, we got there, we walked in, and then we all kind of disappeared. And John and myself, we got so wrapped up in talking airplanes that we lost these two. Later on, you know, we were supposed to have lunch. John and myself had lunch. Later on, we were supposed to all get together and take the bus back to the hotel. And guess who did not show up for the bus ride? Yeah, John Bishop and myself. And this lady got a little bit concerned. And Kathy, I love you, darling. And you're concerned. When I got there finally and you saw me. But you'll never know how much I care about you. And I've always had a soft spot for redheads, believe me. Thank you very much. And Ron, it's been a pleasure knowing you, and I wish you the best, as almost the newest Grandmaster up in the Western Conference. And thank you very much, Ron, for your friendship and all that you do for Oregon. Thank you.
Okay, I've got two presentations, and the first one, I can't say who it's from, but I was just asked to deliver it, and he has to open it.
It says precision gas work based on unreliable data. I'm not sure who this is from, but thank you very much. Now,
Big. If you want to do it up front, I'm okay with that.
I guess I have to listen to she who must be obeyed, so hold on. This really scares me. I never know what my darling wife is going to do. Okay, go ahead and.
I should have told him he couldn't tear the paper.
before I open this has been sitting in our room, and she threatened to, if I will ever opened it and took a look-see. And so I've been curious, believe me, and now I'm more curious.
I'm waiting for the waterworks. Wait.
A very good friend of ours that she met. This is from a very good friend of ours that my wife has met when she was stationed up at, well, she's been working up in Allen, and this lady has been a tremendous help to my wife, and she's really a super, super great person. Let her know I love her, please.
Now he's got to cook. Show him the other side.
Grand Master. On this side it says Charles Wood, Grand Master 2019-2020, and it's got my pin. And on the bottom of it, and I was going to talk about it later, it says, One Masonic Family, Living United, the Grand Lodge of Washington. And then on the back, if you can't see it, I had the privilege of most of my career being with the U-2 and the SR-71, Strategic Air Command Reconnaissance Wing, 100 Strat Recon. And that down here in the corner is my beloved U-2 that I first worked on in 1966 in Davis-Monthan, and got to go all over the world with her. And then up in the corner is the SR-71, and when we combined the two organizations up at Beale Air Force Base, I went from working on the slowest and highest to the fastest aircraft ever built in the world, the SR-71. And man, what a baby she was to work on and be around. Darling, I can't thank you enough. You're remarkable. Don't walk away. I was going to do this a bit later on in the program, but as most of you know, I owe this lady a whole lot. And I'm not going to go into it. A lot of you have already heard the story. And I wouldn't be here today if she hadn't told me to wake up and realize just how far away I had gone from this organization so many years ago. And she said it was time. Time to come home, because she wanted to spend more time with me than I was spending with the corporation, and get back into masonry, because she said I'd lost my way, and she was right. And for that, I owe her a whole lot. because I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for her. And as a little show of my appreciation, how much you mean to me, how much I love you, and man, I love that dress. She had it specially made for tonight, and she wouldn't even let me see it until I saw her out in the hallway. That was the first time I saw it. And she had this made by a very, very talented friend of ours. As a token of my love, I want to give you these flowers and say I love you dearly. Grand Marshal, would you find our past Grand Master's wife, Alda, for me and bring her up here along with Kay? Alta's not here? Well, what I was going to do, Kay Percy, are you here? Okay. Oh, it fell off. Okay. As a way of saying thank you for all that you did last year, here's a pin that says Kay Percy, Ladies Program Chair, 2018-2019, Grand Lodge of Washington. Thank you, Kay, for all you've done. And Ann, you did an outstanding job, lady. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Jim? Here's a pin for your lady as past Grand Master's lady. If you give that to her and give her our best and give her our love and tell her our thoughts are with you and her both. And we wish you both Godspeed. Thank you.
I don't have much. What I do is I have a poem, and it's dedicated to our families. Ladies, I've gotten to know a lot of the Grand Masters over the years. I know the amount of traveling that they have had to do just to get this far. And as I know you're getting ready to do a whole lot more than what you have been. So this poem is dedicated to our ladies and our families. From active Masons resolute, our wives and families we salute. We surely know the price you pay who sit alone while we're away. No high degrees on you conferred, in lodge your name is seldom heard. You serve our cause through out of sight while sitting home alone tonight. Masonic papers list our names, awards are given fit to frame, but yours is absent, you who strive to keep our fortitude alive. You're part of every helpful deed, and your encouragement we feed. Without your blessings, how could we continue acts of charity? And so this poem we dedicate to every Master Mason's mate and offer our undying love. Rewards await in heaven above. Ladies and family, we thank you for your support in our travels in Masonry. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those good words. Grandmaster, you past Grandmaster, if you please join me. You know, over the last year, we've had a lot of fun. And I've just noticed something. You are really not properly attired. And so, if you would please remove that. It is my pleasure, most worshipful brother Jim, to present you with your past Grandmaster's apron. Wear it with pride. It's been well earned, and it's an honor from all the craft to give it to you. You're not done yet. But you know, you're still not properly dressed. And so now I get the privilege and the honor of putting this on you because you have worked so hard. And it's been a pleasure being your Deputy Grand Master. We've had a lot of fun.
Brethren, please be upstanding. Please join with me in giving this most worshipful brother who has given a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on a very rough road this year. He's come out fantastically. Please join with me in giving him lovely grand honors, 3 by 3 on my lead.
Thank you, Grandmaster, and now you are my Grandmaster. And congratulations. I've had plenty of time at the microphone over the last 2 days, but I would just like to thank the Grandmaster for the presentation of the past Grandmaster's apron and collar. I am now the immediate past Grandmaster, and now Warren Chauvin is off the hook, and I'm on it. I have something for you, Grandmaster. It's over here at my place, where I will sit as the immediate past Grandmaster on your left. Now, when Most Worshipful Brother Warren presented me with this, I had completely forgotten about it. But what we have is the Grandmaster's ring that has been held and passed down every year by each succeeding Grandmaster. If you're smart like Warren and I were, you'll stick that in your gun safe and keep it safe until time to break it out and give it to your successor. But as you can see, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous ring. It was made by and for one of our prior past Grandmasters. I don't remember who it is. Anybody want to pitch in? Jim Mendoza, do you remember who that was? About the 1930s. So we've been passing this down for a few years. And with it, we pass down our best wishes and our desire to see that we have a continuation of all the good things that make this such a wonderful fraternity, and we place in your care, just as we placed in your care the office of Grandmaster. So, Most Worshipful Sir, I present you with the Grandmaster's ring, and you, if you choose to wear it, you may, but keep it with honor. I didn't wear it either. No way. Grandmaster, thank you so much, and congratulations once again.
As soon as I get home tomorrow, it's going in a gun safe, believe me. It won't come out for 364 days from now. So, I think that brings us to the end where I'm supposed to make a few remarks. Could you bring up the picture, the two items I gave you, the photos of the pin and the coin? This is the Grandmaster's pin for this year. And it says on it, one Masonic family, living united, Grand Lodge of Washington. And if you'll notice the two different hands, I just want to say we are one family. And we start by working together with the other concordant bodies and with our ladies' organizations, and most importantly, our youth. These pins were purchased, and they will be handed out by the district deputies. Basically, there is no charge for them, but if you would like to make a donation, that's fine. The district deputy will take it, and then at the end of the year, he'll send it into Grand Lodge. But right now, they're basically there, and I hope you wear them with pride as we strive forward to strengthen this fraternity, working together as a big family. You know, there's an old saying that a family that works together and pulls in the same direction are bound to succeed. But you get a family that's pulling in opposite directions, you're going to fail. And we don't want to do that. We want to be here 300 years from now to celebrate, so our children's children's children can celebrate what we've had for so many years. Could you bring up the next slide? This is the Grandmaster's coin. It's gold. It's 1 3/4 inches, 1 3/4 inches, and it's in a hard plastic case. It's a little bit bigger than the normal ones, and there's only 200 of them, and they're not for sale. I will use them and pass them out accordingly. Now you're asking yourself, well, why did I do this? I'll explain that in a few minutes when I make my address. But there's do you have the other one, the back side of it, which is the pin itself? And like I said, I will be passing them out accordingly. And like I said, okay, that's all right. My dear friends and brethren-all, my beloved Lorraine, visiting honored Masonic guests, most worshipables, right worshipables, very worshipables, worshipful brothers, and every brother in this room. I stand before you humbled by the tremendous honor of service you have given me. I thank you all for your trust and confidence, and I pledge to every one of you that I will work diligently to earn that trust every single day and every hour of that day. I could not have arrived at this point without the love and support of the love of my life. For 18 years, Lorraine. I have been fortunate to have the support of many close and dear friends, both Masonic and non-Masonic. I've had the great privilege of working with most worshipful brother Jim Kendall these past several years. I cannot thank him enough for his brotherly love, friendship these past several years. You have had so many challenges and come through them all with strength, resolve, wisdom, humor, and purpose. Thank you, Jim. And it was a pleasure representing you when I could. That's the obligation that I took on, and I thank you for letting me do that. So where do we go from here? I spent the last several years thinking about that very thing. First things first, we will not fix that is not broken. Each of the brothers that has preceded me has invested heart, soul, and mind in this position that I am standing in right now. Each has left our beloved craft in a little bit of a better place by their efforts. What I do know is that there are several things that are always a work in process, and we will tackle those things together as a family, as a fraternity, in our quest for constantly serve our fraternity in every community in our grand jurisdiction, to keep living by our cardinal virtues of faith, hope, and charity. And we have the bright light to shine and to share in the places we live, work, and play. As every Mason knows, we have a 24-inch gauge, which teaches us to properly divide our time among work, charitable relief, rest, and recreation. And we use that tool to help guide our efforts in every aspect of our lives. So what are the challenges we have? So what are the challenges we must continue to face and improve every day? I see several, and I will need your help to get them done. The challenges ahead include trends in membership, changing budgets, visibility in the communities we share and live in, constantly improving our long-range plan to meet our needs, developing our newest members, and working together as one strong brotherhood to achieve our common goals. I would like to offer up a few challenges for the coming year, and I consider these to be achievable and measurable. My plan is to report on the success or failure of these challenges in my closing remarks at the next annual communication of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge to be held at the Great Wolf Lodge in Ground Mound, Washington. The first challenge is to raise $40,000 to support 3 Washington Masonic Charities programs: Distress-Worthy Master Masons, Widows, and Orphans; a youth program to keep kids in school when they are living on the streets or homeless and no longer have support. This is not our youth program. This is Washington Masonic Charities program. And there's a lot of kids out there that need our help. The third program is the Honor Flight program. Thank you, Most Worshipful Brother Jim Mendoza, for getting that started. We're greatly appreciative of that. And so you ask, how do I plan to raise $40,000? It's very simple. As you've noticed, there is no tie for sale, there is no pin, and there is no coin. If you were to have bought those, you would have spent $40, of which probably half of that would have actually went to a charitable, as a charitable contribution as a Grand Master's Fund. So my challenge to you is this: In order to raise $40,000, you take that $40 and you write a check and you send it to Washington Masonic Charities. If 1 in 10 Masons do that, we'll exceed the $40,000 threshold. This is a challenge. This is not begging or asking. I'm asking you to take up the challenge and do the charitable thing from your heart. Charity starts in the heart, not in the pocketbook. And my plan is, and I forgot to bring this to the Grand Secretary's attention, but I plan to, when you put your messenger out every month, I'm going to write a little up-to-date on what we're doing in regards to getting that $40,000 met. And every month, I will put down a chart showing how we're doing. I've talked it over with Ken Gibson, and every month he can report to me how much money has come in. Not who sent it or anything like that. That's confidential. But he'll tell me how much has come in, and every month I'll show a scale. And I think we can do it. And we'll track it. And at the end of the year, we'll see where we are. My second challenge to the brothers is to reduce the number of annual demits that we experienced last year by a third. And you say, how are we going to do that? Very simple. We just got done finishing a survey, and we know why some of the demits are happening. And very shortly, we'll be putting those out. If you give the brothers a reason to come to lodge more than just going to a meeting, paying bills, going downstairs, drinking cold coffee and eating stale donuts, they'll come to the lodge. We made a contract with them when we brought them in, and that was to educate them, help them to become better men. And I ask you, is that what we've been doing in our lodges? So by doing the right thing and picking up the challenge to decrease demits, you'll have more members in your lodge. And by having those members, we'll have a better revenue source. The third challenge is to reduce the number of non-payment and get MPDs. It's the same challenge. Find out why brothers are going away and not paying dues. Cut that down by a third, and your lodges will grow. That's the third challenge. The fourth challenge is to reduce the number of entered apprentices and fellowcrafts that we have on the books, and reduce that by a third, and make them all Master Masons. Then they'll be dues paying members, and we won't have the challenge we went through earlier today. All these things, the worship master of the lodge, the secretary can look up, if I recall right, can't they, Grand Secretary? And I charge those people to go and find out how many people you have that have gone MPD last year, have demitted, what's your backlog, and reduce them. If you do these things and you live up to the obligation you've made to them to help them to become better and give them a reason to come to lodge, we can grow our lodges with good, strong, quality people. And the fifth challenge is to improve the outward appearance of our buildings. I got this idea from our senior Grand Warden, Cameron Bailey. There are currently 117 building associations in our grand jurisdiction. I would like to see at least 23 of those temple boards take up this challenge and improve the outward appearance of their buildings. Just the front would help. So that when people go by your building, they'll say, hey, that's where the Masons are. they are still around. They're relevant. Of course, then you get out in the public and do those other things. First impressions make a long-standing impression on potential members and will influence how the public views Masonry. I would ask that each lodge and temple board take a picture of its property before they make the improvement and after the improvements, and send it to the Grand Lodge office and to myself. And at the next annual communication, I'll make a report as to how many buildings actually got a facelift. It's doable. The final challenge that I have for you, brothers, is to improve lodge ritual throughout the jurisdiction. To accomplish this challenge, we will be implementing both a team competition and individual competition. The team competition will consist of 3 people, and they have to be worshipful masters. You have to be worshipables in order to do it, and that is the worshipful master, senior warden, and junior warden team for opening and closing the lodge. It's just as if you were trying or going through the senior warden's competition of opening, closing, up and down. The only restriction on this is the team has to be made up of members of your lodge. You cannot go out and recruit. There will also be what we call district competitions, and there will be 8 regional competitions. And so you're saying, how am I going to know that, how successful this was? Well, if you got 8 regional meetings, 8 regional competitions, and 8 teams, if I can at least get 4 out of those 8, that would be 50%. And you may be asking, why am I asking you to do this? First impressions go a long ways. You initiate a gentleman and make him an apprentice Mason. He knows he's got to put things to memory. He's asked to do that. He sits in lodge, and when they get ready to close lodge, the leaders of the lodge sometimes can't close it properly. They have to read it. And when they do read it, it's like they read it for the first time. What kind of an impression does that leave? That's why I'm asking you to do this. Brother Steve Martin, where are you? This is the gentleman that gave me this idea. And you're going to be passing it out at the briefing here shortly tomorrow, right? For the district deputies to be fully acquainted with what we're doing and why. And I thank you, Steve. If I understood right, you got this idea from when you were in the Rainbow, right? They were doing that? Thank you, Brother Steve. Right. And there will be individual competition, and that's all written out also. So you say, how will we get these things done? Frankly, it will be through a lot of dedicated effort by every brother in every lodge in this jurisdiction, as well as the great team we have, my officers, my deputies, the committees, and the guidelines that we have set forward for them. They've been instructed to work with you as diligently as possible. I want to thank each officer and all committee members for accepting their appointments and for their willingness to serve our great fraternity. And the other reason I didn't want to have pins and coins being sold is I'm asking these district deputies over here, along with the appointed officers, to work with the lodges to achieve these goals that I've set forward for them to accomplish. And if you were out trying to get rid of my pins or my coins, I think your efforts would be slightly distracted. This way you can work with these people and with these lodges. I know we can get it done. Our Grand Lodge team is as much another working tool for the lodges as it is for me. Reach out to them, capitalize on their experience, and let them serve Freemasonry to make it an even better organization. One of the major parts of the 24-inch gauge is our time for refreshment and rest. No organization can thrive focused only on hard work. My brothers, as most worshipful brother Jim told us in the past year, have fun. I've also heard grandmasters say, enjoy your masonry, walk the talk. We can do all these things. There's a time for devotion to Almighty. There's a time for our regular and our Masonic labors. And there is a time to have fun. During my term, I hope that every lodge I get to visit will be able to celebrate and share those things that make each and every one of us unique. My last thoughts. Please, brothers, sisters, daughters, sons, and guests, remember that our general craft believes in service. To our communities, our lodges, one another, and to every human being who may have a claim upon our kind offices. Ladies, gentlemen, guests, and brethren all, it is my true and great honor to be your Grand Master. I ask you to help me carry out this office with your prayers and counsel. I would close by saying that this year is not about me, but it's about we. If you take the M in me, turn it upside down, the word will say we. And this is what we are going to do. We have the know-how, the willpower, and the strength to get these things accomplished. And I leave you with this thought, which I have said so many times over the last 4 years. Ask not what Freemasonry can do for you, but what can you do for Freemasonry? The greatest fraternity, the supreme architect of the universe ever created. God bless each one of you. Our beloved Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons. Please join my wife Lorraine and me at the reception following these ceremonies. Very worshipful brother Grand Chaplain, would you offer up a departing prayer as we get ready to venture home? Please be upstanding.
Brethren, honored guests, as we are about to depart, we ask the supreme protection of the supreme architect of the universe and ask that he give us his loving embrace, send us home happily and safely to spend more time with this one Masonic family united. It's in your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
I forgot one thing. I'm already in the whole one dress. With that said, you've already heard me introduce my beautiful wife, Lorraine Wood, and I also would like to introduce a couple of very, very close friends. Please be seated. First of all, Sue and Butch, if you would please stand. Some very good friends. I met Butch many, many years ago, and he also was a Mason. And next to him are another good set of friends of ours, Ian and Jenny Ricker. Thank you for coming. My other family was all tied up, both of our families with graduations and other things going on with our grandchildren. And of course, those family things take priority overall. So, for the Deputy Grand Master, you have some introductions to do? You don't have to buy no dresses.
Thank you, Grand Master. It's with great pleasure that I introduce my wife, Lynn. The rest of my family is occupying our home over in Tacoma. All 7 3/4 grandkids, or 2 kids. Yeah, so they're not here.
Brother Senior Grand Warden, do you have some family members to introduce?
Thank you, Grand Master. As always, by my wife, Melinda.
And now I get to call him our newest member of the family, our Junior Grand Warden, Ed Woods. Do you have somebody you'd like to introduce? Please do. So with that said, if everybody, woo! Clint, our Grand Secretary, woo, well, you guys keep me out of trouble. I'll be poor by the end of the year. Clint, do you have somebody you'd like to introduce?
Thank you, Grand Master. I do have somebody I want to introduce, but I want to say to you, congratulations. You and I go a long, long way back, and used to drive around together a lot. So it's awesome. So congratulations. Brethren, it is my great pleasure for about the 15th time this weekend, but last but not least, my lovely bride, Jane, of 25 years, and our 2 daughters, Anna and Abigail, also known as Ma Barker and Stretch.
Okay, the hour is getting short, so I'd like to call upon the Grand Lodge team to join me. Let us march out, and we will form a greeting line, and we look forward to seeing you outside. But also remember, the breakfast, the kickoff breakfast, is not where it originally was meant to be. It's going to be upstairs in this building, up in the Marina Vista, where we had lunch this afternoon. So come on upstairs and join us for the kickoff breakfast. I believe it starts at 9 o'clock. Clint, do you have some flowers you want to present? Okay, so with that, if the Grand Lodge team would follow me and my wife, we'll meet you outside, and thank you. Thank you all for coming, and I love you all very much.
I have climbed higher
would only be with you. Only to be with you. I have run